So hi friends, my name is Vishnuvardhan. So today basically this video is what about excise duty for mainly IPCC students. So this is nothing but not a detailed discussion regarding excise duty. We will be discussing in a fast track mode regarding excise duty which is relevant for your examination point of view, and also it will cover the concepts in excise duty, not any general things which you can understand simply by reading, but mainly the concepts of excise duty will be discussed so that we can cover the syllabus according to the exam point of view. Okay, so we will be covering the excise duty in a fast track mode as I told earlier. So don't expect detailed discussion. I will be discussing only the things which are relevant to the examination and which can clarify the concepts and any doubts regarding excise duty. So actually today we will be discussing about excise duty. So what is excise duty all about? So normally excise duty is nothing but, in simple terms, it is a duty levied on what? On manufacture. Clear? So excise duty is nothing but a duty levied on manufacture. Okay, clear. So excise duty is levied on manufacture. Okay, this is nothing but simply called as excise duty. So there should be a constitutional authority for everything in India to tax. Okay, so to tax something in India, there should be a constitutional authority, and for levying excise duty, the constitutional authority given to the central government is through entry 84 to the union list of 7th schedule, article 246 of Constitution of India. Constitution of India. So this is the authority. Constitution is the authority which has given power to central government to levy excise duty. So it is nothing but regarding the constitutional authority given to central government for levying excise duty. So we discussed that actually excise duty is nothing but a duty levied on manufacturing in simple terms. We will discuss in detail, okay, later on. So now, on what are the things normally excise duty levied and what is the constitutional authority says about levying excise duties. Actually, Constitution gives the power to the central government to levy excise duty on what products? So excise duty can be levied on tobacco. So the entry clearly includes tobacco. It also says and other goods. And other goods. So the provisions in the Constitution clearly says the central government can levy excise duty on tobacco and other goods. So what are the other goods that will be discussed later on? Okay. So what are other goods? So specifically they included tobacco and other goods, but they excluded something. So they included tobacco and they excluded one thing. So what is the exclusion? Exclusion is nothing but alcoholic products. So alcoholic products for whose consumption? For man consumption, human consumption, or animal consumption. So alcoholic products, if you manufacture for human consumption, then it is not liable to excise duty, because central government has no power to levy excise duty on alcoholic products which are manufactured for human consumption. Why? Because the power is given to the state governments in list 2. So state government can levy excise duty on alcoholic products. That's a different story. Okay, so now what are the exclusions? Alcoholic products for human consumption. Next, opium, narcotic drugs, and other narcotics. So these are the exclusions from excise duty. Clear? So we have seen on what excise duty can be levied. Excise duty can be levied on tobacco and other goods, as well as there are certain items which are excluded from excise duty. So what are such goods? Alcoholic products for human consumption. Next, opium, narcotic drugs, and other narcotics are excluded from excise duty. So okay, this is regarding on what products we can levy. So we will see what are the types of excise duties. We will see what are the types of excise duty. So as I told you, this is the discussion is entirely on keeping in mind the exam point of view approach. So we will be discussing the concepts and the concepts will be discussed according to the institute study material, CA Institute study material. Clear? So now we will see what are the things given in our institute material. So they have given what is accessibility, what are the constitutional provisions we have discussed. Next, they have given what are the types of excise duties. So there are different types of excise duties, but I'm not going to discuss all, but what are relevant right now are there are certain duties which are relevant for you and certain duties which are not at all relevant at present in India. Okay, so we will be discussing what are relevant in India now. Okay, so what are the types of excise duty? Number one, bed, not normal bed. Second one is NCCD. Next, third one is additional duty of excise. Next, EC and SHEC. That's a different story. So actually, there are four types of excise duties which are existing right now in India. So what are the one? First one is bed. That is nothing but basic excise duty. Basic excise duty. Second one is NCCD, National Calamity Contingent Duty. Next one is additional duty of excise. Next is education cess and secondary education cess, which are levied on whatever the duty we are levying. So next, what is mean by bed? First, basic excise duty. So basic excise duty is nothing but which will be levied on all products. Basic excise duty is nothing but which will be levied on all goods. But whereas NCCD is nothing but National Calamity Contingent Duty, which will be levied only on certain products notified by the central government. So you can see in the material what are the products levied which are suffering national contingent calamity. Sorry, national calamity contingent duty. So there are right now on pan masala, branded chewing tobacco, cigarettes, domestic crude oil and mobile phones. On these items only national calamity contingent duty is levied. No other products will suffer NCC. Clear? So next, coming to additional duty of excess. Next, coming to additional duty of excess, this is nothing but a type of surcharge which was levied on pan masala and specified tobacco products. Only on pan masala and specified tobacco products we will be levying additional duty of excise. Then EC and SHEC, you know, normal 2% and 1%. Clear? So this is regarding to types of duties. So types of duties, okay. So what are the laws which are governing this excise duty? So we should know. So actually excise duty ED is mainly covered by is governed by SIA 1944. Next one is SETA 1985. 1985. Okay. So excise duty will be governed by SIA, Central Excise, Central Excise Act 1944, and this is Central Excise Tariff Act 1985. 1985. So why there are two acts actually for excise duty means, so each act has its unique performance. So what each act does, so we will see. So actually Central Excise Act 1944 talks about only levy of excise duty, how you can levy excise duty, whereas Central Excise Tariff Act talks about the goods on which you can levy excise duty. This talks about levy, this talks about goods on which you can levy, and also you can levy excise duty, and also rates at which the goods should be suffered to excise duty. Clear? So excise duty is governed by right now Central Excise Act. Central Excise Act talks about the levy of the excise duty, and Central Excise Tariff Act talks about what are the goods on which excise duty should be levied and at what rate you should levy. At what rate you should levy the excise duty. So now these two are the important things which will be governing excise duty. Then there will be some trade notices, circulars, amendments through finance acts. So all those things There is no need to discuss in detail right now, because as I told, this is some fast track revision. So these are the important things you should know basically regarding excise duty and what are the laws governing excise duty. Next one we shall see. So before talking what is the, to what extent application of excise duty, which is given earlier in the material, before the meaning of manufacture and some the basic conditions which says about the levy of excise duty. So first I want to discuss when an excise duty can be levied. So excise duty can be levied, okay, right. Excise duty can be levied on what? On manufacture. On manufacture. Okay, I agree. Excise duty can be levied on manufacture. So whatever you manufacture, whether I can levy excise duty? No. I should manufacture what? Excisable goods. Okay. So excisable goods. What are excisable goods? We will see later the meaning. But what is manufactured? The manufactured thing should be excisable goods. Okay. So okay, I am manufacturing excisable goods. So I am manufacturing an excisable good in France. Whether it can be taxed excise duty, whether we can levy excise duty? No. Excisable goods should be manufactured in India. In India. So actually there should be a manufacture of excisable goods. Not only manufacture of goods, manufacture of every good is not attracted to excise duty or not subjected to excise duty. Manufacture of excisable goods, manufacture of excisable goods will be subjected to excise duty. Okay, I am manufacturing excise goods. Okay, but whether I can levy excise duty or not means first you should see whether it is manufactured in India or not, right? So there should be a manufacture of excisable goods in India. Then only you can levy excise duty. Clear? So this is regarding when you can levy excise duty on any manufacture. So manufacture should be of excisable goods and there should be in India, and then you can levy excise duty on such. Okay. So now to what extent the excise duty laws are applicable? Okay, we are saying it should be in India. No, we are talking about now applicability. We'll see to what extent it is applicable. So we are talking actually excise duty goods should be manufactured in India. So in India means where? In Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra, Jammu and Kashmir, or what? In water or in air, in sea, or what? We should see. So in the same way, we have to know the definition of India for this purpose, for excise duty purpose. So for excise duty purpose, in India means India, whole of India, whole of India. So generally, we will be having a habit of what is the applicability of certain law means we will be reading generally. It is applicable to whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. So we will be having that habit. Now in this case, whether excise duty is applicable to whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir means no. Actually, when they introduced excise duty, it is not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir, but later on they made it applicable even to Jammu and Kashmir. So right now in India means whole of India including Jammu and Kashmir, including Jammu and Kashmir. So if you are manufacturing any product in Jammu and Kashmir, then also it is liable to excise duty. So in India means it is applicable to whole of India including Jammu and Kashmir. So including Jammu and Kashmir, okay. So there are certain other issues. So let us assume there is an exclusive economic zone that will be under the sea where we will be extracting natural gas or oil resources. So those specified exclusive economic zones in that area we will be manufacturing. Okay. In that case, whether we can levy excise duty or not, yes, we can levy. So actually, the applicability of excise duty is to whole of India, including Jammu and Kashmir, and also it extends to what? Continental shelves, and exclusive economic zones up to 200 nautical miles. Up to 200 nautical miles, very very important. Up to 200 nautical miles. So if it is exceeding 200 nautical miles, then we cannot levy excise duty. So this is the applicability regarding excise duty. Now we will see what is the taxable event. What is the taxable event? So we are talking that if it is manufactured in India, it is liable to excise duty. So in India. So in this discussion we can understand when the excess duty can be levied. When the excess duty can be levied, actually excess duty is nothing but event based tax. Event based tax. So what is the event that should happen here? Excess duty as in an event based tax. And what is the event here which attracts excess duty? What is the event when we will levy excess duty? When there is a manufacture. Yes or no? So taxable event for excess duty is nothing but what? Manufacture. Manufacture. So when there is any manufacture, then only we can levy excess duty. So we have covered the portion called taxable event even in your study material. You can see here. So actually we discussed levy of duty. That is application of central excise law to whole of India, extending Jammu and Kashmir, etc. Next, taxable event. What is the taxable event we have seen? So the taxable event is manufacture. For the levy of excess duty, the taxable event is manufacture. Now we will see. So we will get a doubt. What we are saying that we are talking that whatever goods you manufacture, so that is excisable goods. Okay, technically speaking. So excisable goods, if I manufacture, it is liable to excise duty. Okay, if I manufacture in India. Now we can get a doubt. Even government will be involved in manufacturing goods, right? So now whether these goods are liable to excise duty or not, we should see. So everybody will get it out because excise duty will be levied and collected by government itself. So if government is engaged in any manufacturing or production activities, then on such manufacture or production of excisable goods done by government, whether it is liable to excise duty, yes. So even excisable goods, if they are produced by government or manufactured by government, goods produced or manufactured or produced, then government is also liable to pay excise duty because government is not excluded. Government is not excluded. So if government is manufacturing or producing any product or goods which is excisable one in India, then even government should pay excise duty. Government should pay excise duty. Government is not excluded from excise duty. And one more thing you should know about 100% EOU and SEZ. Okay. So to encourage exports, we will not levy taxes to 100% EOUs because they will be completely involved in 100% exports. Okay. So we will not levy tax excise duty on 100% EOU. So if you are manufacturing any goods in 100% EOU or SEZ, it is not liable to excise duty. That is clear. But only thing is, when I bring some goods which are manufactured in 100% EOU to outside 100% EOU, that is nothing but DTA, domestic tariff area, whether then such goods can be subjected to excise duty or not. So actually why we are giving exemption to 100% EOU from excise duty? Because they are meant for 100% export. Let us assume if some goods are manufactured, let us assume in 100% EOU, we are manufacturing a branded jean. Okay, branded jean. So actually there will be some defects in jeans or not. In any product you manufacture, there might be some defect. So let us assume the normal practice is 2% of the products which they manufacture will be defective goods. So if we export these defective goods, our brand gets affected. Yes or no? If we export these defective goods, our brand gets affected. So we will bring this to DTA and make a sale from there. Yes or no? Why? Because we don't want to lose revenue. We can even sell those defective goods in local area. It's not going to affect our market. Why? Because our market is mainly abroad, not in India. So whatever the defective goods are there, we will remove it from 100% EOU and bring it to DTA. There we will be selling it for lower price. Okay. So now whether these goods which are sold in DTA, that means which are removed to DTA, whether it is liable to excise duty means yes, it is liable to excise duty. So here what is the excise duty we can levy? So excise duty will be calculated according to the customs duty provisions or laws. Clear, nothing but. So here the excise duty liability will be calculated according to customs duty laws. Why? Because here we will assume that 100% export oriented unit is not the part of India. So in case if any goods are brought into DTA from 100% EOU, then we will treat that nothing but like an import, similar to import. So on import what will levy? customs duty. So in the same way, when we bring goods to DTA from 100% EOU, we will just treat like it as an import and we will levy excise duty according to the customs duty provisions. Clear? So that is the another clarification. Now let us assume when you are bringing it to DTA, there are different rates. When you are bringing to DTA the goods which are manufactured in 100% EOU, there might be different rates, customs duty rates applicable to such good. Okay. Now which rate I should take when there is a conflict? Which highest rate should be taken for levying excise duty. Okay. If there is a conflict between rates in levying regarding customs laws provisions, okay, then we should take whichever is the rate higher, on that we will levy on the goods, okay, which are brought into DTA from 100% EOU. So next one, we are talking about goods. So we will see what is the meaning of goods. Okay. So what is the meaning of goods? So actually there are many definitions from Sale of Goods Act and etc. And also there are various decisions, that is judicial decisions, nothing but courts have given their opinion on what is meant by goods. Okay. So based on all that, we can come to a simple summary that goods should be movable and marketable. So here I am not using movable or marketable. This is movable and marketable. So there are two conditions to make a product as goods under excise duty. So we are talking only about excise duty. So here we are taking the definition of goods for the purpose of excise duty. So if you make a summary of all the definitions and decisions, judicial decisions, we can get into a conclusion that goods means nothing but simply the goods should be movable and marketable. Movable and marketable. So what is movable? What is marketable? So actually, general definition, movable. The goods should be movable. They are capable of being bought into market. Bought into market. Clear? So actually, the goods should be having the capability of bringing it into market. It should be capable of being moved. That's all. In simple definition, it should be movable. No need to complicate things. As simple as possible. So next, what is marketability? So marketability means nothing but capability of being sold. Being sold. Here we are not talking that it should be sold. We are just saying that the goods should be capable of being sold in the market. Clear? So now let me explain you one more thing. If this is marketable, it doesn't mean there should be an actual sale. There should be an actual sale, not required. Actual sale not required. Clear? So we are talking about only the capability of whether it is being sold in the market or not. We are not discussing about whether it is sold or not. So sale is not at all relevant for levying excise duty. So one thing is clarified. Sale is not at all required for levying excise duty. So actually the goods are sold or not, it is not relevant. Whether it has the capability to bring it into the market and whether we are capable of making it sale. Okay. There is no need to sell actually. Okay. The goods should have the capability of being sold. That's enough. Actual sale is not at all necessary. Not at all necessary for what? To levy excise duty. Clear? So next, one more point. So now, okay sir, I will bring it to market and I will sell. Okay. If there are how many buyers, we can determine that it is marketable. Okay. Now let us assume I am bringing a product into market. Now if there are 100 buyers, I can say it marketable, or if there are 1000 buyers, I can say it marketable, or what? That is the question. So we should not see the number of buyers. Okay, number of buyers, whether if the number of buyers are high only, then only we can say it is marketable. That is not the case here. Okay. If the goods to be called as marketable, we should see how many buyers, not how many buyers, whether it is having the capability of being sold. That means even if one buyer is there, one buyer in the market to purchase that product, then obviously it is called as marketable. So one buyer is enough. One buyer is enough. Clear? So you should not see how many number of buyers are there in the market to determine its marketability. Even if one buyer is there, then it's enough to call it as marketable. Let us assume I'm bringing a drug into market, and this drug is used to produce some other medicine, and this medicine is manufactured only by one person in India. The person who is manufacturing, let us assume, a medicine of a medicine X, a medicine. So this will be manufactured, let us assume, only by some ABC Limited. For this manufacturing, they need a product called Y. That is nothing but input. Now I am manufacturing this Y. I am manufacturing this Y. Okay. So now if I take this Y to market, I can find how many buyers? Not large buyers, only one buyer. That is ABC Limited. ABC Limited. Why? Because he needs to manufacture X. For that, he needs Y. Yes or no? Then in this case, I will be having only one buyer in the market. Now whether I can say it is marketable or not? Yes, it is marketable. Why? Because the capability of being sold is enough. That means number of buyers are not at all relevant. Not at all relevant. Even if one buyer is there to purchase your good, then it is called to be marketable. Now let us assume I am starting my business for the first time and these goods are not at all manufactured earlier. Let us assume I am manufacturing a product called Z, so which is first time manufactured in India. First time manufactured in India. Clear? First time manufactured in India. The product is first time manufactured in India. Now I am saying that the manufacturer is saying that this is not at all marketable, so I will not pay excise duty. Why? Because there are no buyers and there is no capability for that product of being sold. So I am not paying excise duty. Now, whether the department can levy excise duty on this? Means yes, they can levy excise duty, but the department should prove the marketability. Prove the marketability of what? The product. Clear? It means the burden of proving the marketability is on department, not on the manufacturer. If department is able to prove that the product Z is marketable, then no problem. The department can levy excise duty. But if the department fails to prove the marketability of a product, then it is not at all liable to excise duty. So clear? So the burden of proof is on whom? On department regarding proving the marketability of any product. Why we want to prove marketability of a product? Because if you want to levy excise duty, two conditions: movable, marketable. So if any one of the condition is not satisfied, then we cannot levy excise duty. Both together should be satisfied. Clear? Then only we can call it as the goods can be called as they are subjected to excise duty. Otherwise, excise duty cannot be levied on such goods. So this is regarding what are goods. So okay, goods. If I am manufacturing goods, whether they can levy excise duty? No. Actually, the goods should be what? Excisable. Yes or no? The goods should be a excisable goods. So if the goods are excisable, then only they can levy excise duty. Clear? So when we call goods as excisable goods, so actually to call goods as excisable goods, they should be given in what? CETA 1985. Clear? So earlier we discussed that CETA, Central Excise Tariff Act, will be having the goods, will be specifying the goods. So in CETA, we will be having goods on which you can levy excise duty, and parallelly the rate at which you can levy excise duty. The rate at which you can levy excise duty on this. Let us assume there are goods in CETA like X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Now see, there will be rates like 4%, 2%, 12%, nil blank, 0%, 8%. Clear? So let us assume this is the schedules given in CETA. Now, what are excisable goods? What are not excisable goods? We cannot say all goods given in SETA are excisable goods. Okay, we cannot say all goods given in Central Excise Tariff Act as excisable goods. What are the main conditions? The goods should be there in schedule. So SETA will be having first schedule and second schedule. Okay, so the goods given in first schedule and second schedule are called as excisable goods when if they are also giving rate on which the goods are subjected to excise duty in the same schedule, then we can say the goods as excisable goods. That means the goods should be mentioned in SETA, that is in first and second schedule, and also the rate should be given. So let us assume here X is called as excisable goods or not. They are excisable. Y excisable. Z excisable. Here, what is this dash? This is nothing but hyphen. This is nothing but blank. They left the rate column as blank. Now we cannot call it as excisable goods. We cannot call it as excisable goods. Why? Because there should be goods specified in SETA first and second schedule, and also there should be a rate given. Then only you can call it as excisable goods. Here, if the rate column is left blank, then we cannot say that it is exempted goods. We cannot say that it is exempted goods. It is not at all an excisable goods. So this is nothing but non-excisable goods. Clear? So if any goods is given in SETA first and second schedule, and the rate also if they are mentioning, then only it will be called as excisable goods. Otherwise it will not be called as excisable goods. It will be termed as non-excisable goods. Okay, clear. Now what about this B? B 0%. Now we can call 0% as a rate. So 0% is also a rate. Okay, now the goods are excisable, but they are nil rated. That's all. They are nil rated. They are nil rated goods, but they are excisable goods. Why? Because there is a rate given. 0% is also a rate. Okay, 0% is also a rate. So the goods B are called as excisable goods. Now C obviously excisable. This is not excisable. Not accessible. So it is relating to what is meant by accessible goods. So keep in mind, if the goods, if they are be called as accessible goods, the goods should be mentioned in first and second schedule of SETA 1985, and also there should be a rate provided on them. That means the goods specified in the schedules are subjected to accessibility. That's what there in the material you can see there. When we can call goods as accessible goods means accessible goods. See, accessible goods means goods which are specified in first and second schedule of Central Excise Tariff Act 1985 as being subjected to a duty of excise. As being subjected to a duty of excise, that means there should be a rate given along with the goods at which the goods can suffer excise duty. Clear? That means as being subjected to a duty of excise. As being subject to a duty of excise. That means the rate also should be given in the schedules. If rate is not at all given, if the rate column itself is blank, then we cannot call those goods as being subjected to excise duty, because there is no rate at all. That means they are not at all subjected to excise duty according to the schedules or SETA. Okay, so they cannot be called as accessible goods. Those are non-accessible goods. If the rate is 0%, then we can call them as accessible goods, but they are nil rated goods. That's all, because 0% is also a rate. So with this we can conclude that if rate column is blank, what we can say, the goods are non-accessible goods. But if rate given is 0%, then they are accessible goods. Clear? So that is the concept here. So what are the goods? Any example for 0% rate means? Yes, bamboos, common salt, rock salt, etc. So these are the examples for nil rated goods. So okay, nil rated goods. Then what are exempted goods? What is meant by exempted goods? So exempted goods are nothing but if any goods are exempted through notification. Through notification, they will be exempted. Clear? Then such goods are called as exempted goods. So this is regarding what are excisable goods, what are non-excisable goods, what are nil rated goods, what are exempted goods. So now we have covered what are goods, what are excisable goods. Next, there should be a manufacturer. We are discussing about manufacture. No, then we have to see what is the definition of manufacture given in our book or given in the law. Actually, manufacture includes deemed manufacture. Deemed manufacture. So we will see what is manufacture, then deemed manufacture. So actually, to see manufacture, we have to see the first point in manufacture in our material. For deemed manufacture, you can refer second and third point. So what is what is manufacture first? So actually, manufacture is nothing but any process which should be undertaken for completion of a product, for completion of a final product or manufactured product, whatever it is. So to complete a product, then any process undertaken is nothing but a manufacture. So in simple terms, we can say that actually manufacture means any change or process, but every change or process is not a manufacture. Every change or process is not a manufacture. This change or process should result in a new and different article. New different article with what? With new, with not new, sorry, with different name and character or use. So it should be having either different name and along with that there should be some different character or use. So what if you are comparing the final product, then it should be having different name, different character or use. With what you are going to compare? With the input which are given into the process. Whichever the input has been entered into process or change, then such input, when it is processed or any change is taken place, then it should result in what? New different article with what? With different name and character or use. Then we can call it as manufacture. So this point talks about manufacture, and this is detailedly explained in the next page here. Manufacture implies a change, but every change is not a manufacture. Yet change of article is result of how any change can happen, because it is nothing but as a result of treatment, labor and manipulation. Okay, because of all this, if there is any change resulted, and that change, because of that change or process, if something new transformation are taken place and a new different article must emerge having a distinctive name and character or use. That is okay, clear. So that is nothing but manufacture. So now we will see deemed manufacture. So actually I said you in the book, this first point talks about manufacture, second and third talks about deemed manufacture. So what is deemed manufacture? So let us see some examples whether it is manufacture or not. Now see examples of processes. Even one more thing, even if a process is manufactured or not, the burden to prove that is also on department. The burden to prove the marketability is also on department. The burden to prove the manufacture is also on department. Clear? So we'll see some examples for process, whether the process is amounting to manufacture or not. So obtaining sugar from sugarcane, yes, because sugarcane is a different product and sugar is also a different product. So like this in your material you can refer to examples which are given for manufacture and for things which are not at all manufactured. So painting of goods. Now let us assume we are painting a table. Whether the process of painting is a manufacture? No. Why? Because table after painting also called as table, not as bed. Clear? Table will be used as table even after painting. So painting of goods is not a manufacture. Clear? Now we will see deemed manufacture. So what is called as deemed manufacture? So actually there are certain activities which are called as manufacture, okay, but there are even certain activities which are not at all manufacture, because they will not satisfy all these conditions, okay. But certain processes, even though not amounting to manufacture, they will be called as manufacture. Then such case is nothing but called as deemed manufacture. Here, so when we can say a process is a deemed manufacture and when we can levy excise duty on such process means that deemed manufacture should be such process should be specified in the section or chapter notes of the schedule to the central excise tariff as amounting to manufacture. So nothing but the process is not a manufacture, clear, but in the section or chapter notes of the schedules in SETA, they should have specifically mentioned a process calling it as manufacture. Yeah, then we can call it as manufacture according to deemed manufacture concept and we will levy excise duty. So normally manufacture means there should be a process which will bring some change in the name, character or use of an article and a new different article will emerge. But there are certain processes through which there is no such new article manufactured or produced, but those processes will be called as manufacture because of this deemed manufacture concept. So what deemed manufacture says, if any process is specified in section notes or chapter notes of the schedule of Central Excise Tariff Act, then such process which was mentioned there in section notes and chapter notes will be termed as manufacture. That means simple thing is nothing but, so let us take galvanization of iron. So galvanization of iron. So by galvanization of iron, galvanization is nothing but a process, which is a process carried on iron ore, and this will not create gold. If you make galvanization process on iron, iron will not become gold. Okay, iron will remain still as iron. This process is not at all a manufacture normal, but they have included galvanization of iron under the section notes. Okay, now what they did, because of including this process under section notes, now what this process becomes? Deemed manufacture. Clear? So if any process is specified under section notes or chapter notes of the schedule of Central Excise Tariff Act, then such process will be called as manufacture. Even though it is not a manufacture, that will be called as manufacture. So that is number one. So number two, so there are certain goods which are specified in third schedule to Central Excise Tariff Act. There are certain type of goods which are specified in SETA, okay, third schedule of SETA, and in relation to such goods, if you are making any process which involves packing or repacking, labeling or relabeling, declaration or alteration of retail sale price on it, or adoption of any other treatment on the goods to render the product marketable to the consumer. So what does it mean actually? So there are certain goods which are given in third schedule of SETA, and in relation to these goods which are specified in third schedule, in relation to these goods, let us take an example to make you clear in understanding concept. So let us assume there is a good X. This goods is given under third schedule of SETA. Now let us assume, normally you tell me whether packing of goods, can we call it as manufacture? Whether repacking it, can we call it as manufacture? No. Whether labeling, relabeling and any other process, any process to make it marketable, if you make any process normally, This is not a manufacture. This is not at all manufacture. So this is not at all a manufacture. Not at all a manufacture. But because of these goods are given in third schedule of SETA, we will call all this process as manufacture. Based on what? Based on the concept called as deemed manufacture. Clear? Based on the concept deemed manufacture. So that is nothing but concept is simple. This is goods, X is goods. So if any goods are specified in third schedule, if any goods are specified in third schedule of SETA, and in relation to these goods, if there is any something process carried out, that is nothing but packing, repacking, labeling, relabeling, adoption of RSP, alteration of RSP, so on, so any process to make it marketable, then such manufacture, such process is nothing but called as manufacture. Based on what? Based on a concept called as deemed manufacture. Then they will be liable to what? Excise duty. Clear? So this is nothing but deemed manufacture. So now we are through with concept of goods. What is mean by goods? What are excisable goods? And what is manufacture? So what is manufacture we have seen. So who is called as manufacturer? Who is called as manufacturer? So let us see what the act says. Who is called as manufacturer? So under this concept we have an examples in the material. So just we will have some rapid questions. So whether manufacture of alcohol and wine is liable to excise duty? No. Why? Because alcohol for human consumption is excluded under excise duty. So now manufacture of medicinal and cosmetic products containing alcohol is liable to excise duty means yes. Why? Because clearly included. I discussed this. I hope. So if not, so listen. If medicinal and cosmetic products containing alcohol, they are not alcoholic products for human consumption. Okay, they are for human consumption itself, but they are not alcoholic products. They are some medical product which is used for human consumption, which contains some small amount of alcohol. Clear? So that is nothing but the case. So they are not called as alcoholic products for human consumption. They are called as medical products which are for human consumption, just containing a small percentage of alcohol. So they are subjected to excise duty. Now whether tell me repairing, reconditioning or remaking will be subjected to excise duty? Repairing, reconditioning or remaking. So now whether this will be subjected to excise duty? Because of repairing a mobile phone that will turn into a laptop? No. Clear? So after repairing mobile phone, that will still remain as mobile phone, not as laptop. So there is no new emergence of product with a different name, character or use. Clear? So the repairing, reconditioning and remaking are not at all a process which called as manufacture, and these are not subjected to excise duty. Production of accessible goods in a factory located in SEZ. So in special economic zone, excise duty is not at all liable even though if you are producing accessible goods. Clear? Now we will see another concept, that is nothing but captive consumption. Captive consumption. So what is captive consumption? Whether we can levy excise duty on captive consumption or not, here is the question. So we will see what is mean by captive consumption. So we will see the concept of captive consumption. So captive consumption So, okay, what is meant by captive consumption? So, actually, captive consumption means, let us assume I am a manufacturer of car. I am a manufacturer of car. So, for manufacturing this car, I will be purchasing tires. Yes or no? So, car needs tires. So, I will be purchasing these tires. I can manufacture the tires or I can purchase the tires. So, now if I am purchasing these tires and manufacturing the car, there is no problem. There is a different issue. Now, if I am having a different unit for manufacture of tires, okay, and a unit for manufacture of cars. Clear? Now the tires which are manufactured here will be brought into this unit and used for manufacture of car. Clear? Now even these are goods, even car is also a good, right? So if you are manufacturing one good and if you are using this to manufacture another good, clear, then this is nothing but called as captive consumption. Captive consumption. So simple. If you are manufacturing a product and this product is in turn used in manufacture of another final product, we are manufacturing a product tires, clear, and this is in turn used by whom? By us itself. Clear? We are not at all selling these tires to outsiders. So tires are manufactured by me, okay, and these manufactured tires are in turn used by me itself in manufacture of what? Car. So manufacture of one product is used in turn to produce another product, another final product by the same manufacturer. Then it is nothing but called as captive consumption. Captive consumption. Now I am doing captive consumption here. That means I am manufacturing tires and also car. So these tires are nothing but captively consumed. Now whether the manufacturer of these tires is liable to excise duty or not is the question. So whether tires are liable to excise duty or not is the biggest question mark here. Now the main thing is we have to see for any goods to levy excise duty if any goods are consumed captively and whether excise duty is payable on that or not means, then you should see about the dutiability of the final product which you are manufacturing. Clear? Dutiability of the final product which you are manufacturing. So if the final product you should see. So if the final product is taxable, if the final product is taxable, then intermediary product, clear? So intermediary product here is what? Tires. Clear? These tires are exempt. These tires are exempt from excise duty. That is nothing but if final product is taxable, intermediary product you used, that is nothing but captively consumed product, is exempt, or vice versa. That means if final product is exempt, then obviously intermediary product will be taxable. Clear? So nothing but here if car is subjected to excise duty, then tires are exempt from excise duty. If car is exempted from excise duty, tires are liable for excise duty. Clear? So nothing but we have understood what is meant by captive consumption. Captive consumption means nothing but a product is manufactured by us and this product is in turn used for the manufacture of another final product. Then the product which are manufactured by us first is nothing but they are consumed by us itself. This is nothing but called as captive consumption. Now the goods which are captively consumed are liable to excise duty or not depends on the final product's taxability. If the final product is taxable, then obviously intermediary product is exempt. If the final product is exempt, then intermediary product which is captively consumed is nothing but taxable. Clear? Now this is nothing but concept called as captive consumption and its dutiability, whether it is liable to excise duty or not. Now in the book we can see next assembly and manufacture. So assembly vis-a-vis manufacture. So here the concept is nothing but whether any assembly of goods is liable to excise duty or not. Now let us assume I am purchasing mouse, CPU, keyboard. Now I am purchasing mouse, CPU and keyboard and using all these I will be assembling. By purchasing all this I will assemble. After making any assembly, what I will get? I will get computer. So now whether this computer is liable to excise duty, that means here there is no manufacturer. We are just assembling the products. We are assembling different products, mouse, CPU, keyboard. Now whether this assembly is called as manufacture or not means yes, provided with certain condition. Yes, this is a assembly is a manufacture when a new different not different new commercial product with different name comma character or use. If the assembly gives rise to a new com- new commercial product with different name character or use, then even assembly will be termed as manufacture and will be subjected to excise duty. Clear? So that means assembly will be called manufacture only when a new commercial product with different name character or use is arising out of such assembly, then only we can call it as manufacture and excise duty can be levied. So assembly is also termed as manufacture only when because of such assembly any new commercial product with different name character or use is coming into existence. So that is nothing but in relation to assembly. So the concept here assembly given, so that is the case. Now dutiability of site related activities. So what is this? So this is also nothing but the same thing almost. So in site related activities we will be assembling some goods and making a machinery in the site itself. Okay, in such case whether that assembly in relation to site related activities is called as manufacture or not means, so let us assume in a site you are assembling some products and making an escalator. So this escalator is nothing but a assembly, nothing but assembly. So now whether this assembly can be called as manufacture or not means, so only thing is you have to see whether this assembly is movable, marketable, new different product with different name character or use, you should see, that's the only thing. Okay, movable or marketable, new different name or character or use, then you can call it as manufacture. Otherwise the assembly even in site related activities cannot be called as manufacture. Clear? So anywhere normally the assembly means, logically speaking, assembly means they should give emergence to a new commercial product with different name character or use. Clear? Then such assembly can be called as manufacture whether it is inside or outside the site or anywhere. And one more thing is, let us assume I am assembling different parts and making a generator. I am assembling different parts. Let us assume by taking some batteries and some electronic items. Being a commerce student, I don't know about electronics. So batteries, electronics. After assembling, there is a generator which was assembled. Okay. After assembling batteries and some electronic equipments, we got generator. Now this generator is movable or not means, yes, this is movable. Now whether this assembly is liable to excise duty? Yes, it is liable to excise duty. Why? Because we are not, after assembling batteries and some other electronic equipments, we are not getting batteries or that electronic equipments. We are getting a new product called as generator. Clear? Now let us assume this generator will be vibrating when it is in operation mode. When the generator is in operation mode, the generator will be vibrating. So this vibration may distract the functioning of that generator or it may affect the generator itself. So to avoid this generator is nothing but fixed to earth. Fixed to earth. For what they fixed it to earth? To avoid vibrations. To avoid vibrations. Now whether this is liable to excise duty? Why? Because now it is not movable. Now whether this is liable to excise duty? It is liable to excise duty. Why? Because the generator can be again taken from that place without any damages. Yes or no? Why? Because if any product can be taken out even though it is fixed to the ground, why we are fixing it to the ground or earth? To avoid just vibrations, and that can be moved to other place without any damage to that product. Generator can be shifted from this place to this place without any damage, without any damage. That means it is movable. If it cannot be moved without any damage, we can call it as immovable. But generator is able to be shifted to some other place without any damage to that product, to the generator. So it is movable, and obviously it is liable to accessibility. Simply merely by fixing it to earth to avoid vibrations while it is in operation mode, we cannot call that as immovable thing. So for determining movable or immovable, we should see whether you can shift the product from one place to another with destruction or without destruction. That means with damage, causing damage to the product or not. If it is causing damage to the product, it is not a movable one. If it is not causing damage for shifting from one place to another place, okay, that means in taking out from that place, if any damages are happening, then it is immovable, and if no damages are happening, then it is nothing but called as movable. So this is nothing but called relating to assembly, concept relating to assembly. So now we will see dutiability of scrap or waste. Dutiability of waste and scrap. So dutiability of waste and scrap. So what is this actually? So nothing but, let us assume while manufacturing sugar, we will be getting a waste. What is that? Molasses. Molasses. We know sugar is taxable. What about molasses? What about molasses? So whether any waste and scrap is subjected to excise duty or not means, yes, this can be subjected to excise duty provided with certain conditions. One thing is same, marketable. It should be marketable, movable. Obviously scrap will be movable, no doubt in that. So it should be marketable, and it should be specified in schedule of SETA. Okay, so these are cumulative conditions, not any one condition is satisfied. So if any one condition is not satisfied, then it cannot be dutiable. So for waste and scrap to levy excise duty, the goods should be marketable. There should be a buyer for such waste and scrap. Simply because I am generating waste and scrap, I cannot say this is liable to excise duty. Okay, that waste and scrap also should have some buyers. That means it should be having the capability of being sold, and that should be specified in SETA. They should be specified in SETA. Then only it will be called as excisable goods, and because of it is having the capability of being sold, it will be called as marketable. Then only it is liable to excise duty. So for levying excise duty on waste and scrap, you should see only two things: whether it is marketable or not. Yes, it is marketable. See whether it is specified in Central Excise Tariff Act or not. Yes, it is specified. Then straight away, waste and scrap is also is dutiable. Simple. Clear? So this is relating to waste and scrap. Now let us take one more example. So actually I have very large machinery, and this machinery are subjected to service every month. Service every month. Okay, so the machinery should be serviced every month. So while servicing by using some engine oils, they will be using grease, engine oils and all, no, for servicing any machinery. At the time there is a waste crude oil generated. Waste crude oil generated. Now whether this waste crude oil can be subjected to excise duty or not is the question. Yes or no? Let us assume this waste crude oil is given in SETA, and also assume this is a marketable one. Marketable one. Now let me know whether this waste crude oil generated is liable to excise duty or not. it is not liable to excise duty. Why? Because simply because it is marketable and specified in SETA, we cannot say this as waste and scrap which is liable to excise duty. Why? Because when it is generated when a service is taken place, not manufactured. So the waste and scrap here which we discussed, no, the one more condition is it should be during the course of manufacture or production. Clear? So goods should be generated during the course of manufacture or production, then only you can levy excise duty. Here waste crude oil is generated when you are manufacturing any machinery, the waste crude oil is generated. No, it is it is produced or it came into existence only when there is a service is taken place in relation to machinery. Okay, so here there is no manufacture involved, no production involved. So here no manufacture involved, right? So no excise duty on waste and scrap. Clear? So this is the situation. So one thing, for determining the dutiability of waste and scrap, it should be produced during the course of manufacture or production. It should be marketable. It should be specified in schedule. There are three conditions, three cumulative conditions. Clear? One is marketability, one is specified in the schedule, next one is during the course of manufacture or production. So this is relating to dutiability of waste and scrap. So we discussed about manufacture also completely, which is given in our syllabus for IPCC. Now we will see about manufacturer. What is the meaning of manufacturer? So manufacturer meaning is as simple as possible. I will tell you. So manufacturer. Let us assume I am a person. I am a goldsmith. I am a goldsmith. Now what I will be doing? I will be making jewelry. I will be making jewelry. Clear? Now I am making jewelry, so I can call myself as a manufacturer or not? Yes. Right now I am doing the job on my own account. On my own account. Right or no? I am doing the manufacture or production on my own account. Now I can be called as manufacturer. Let us assume the same goldsmith is hiring labor X, Y and Z. Clear? Now, and they are doing the manufacture of jewelry. X, Y and Z are doing the manufacture of jewelry. Now who is called as manufacturer in this case? Not X, Y and Z, this person goldsmith who is engaging the labor. Clear? So manufacture means nothing but a person who is doing the process on his own account and who is carrying out the process by hiring labor. So manufacturer means a person who is carrying out the process of manufacture on his own account, or he might, this is number one, this is number two. So both cases the person can be called as manufacturer. So the person who is carrying on the process on his own account, he is called as manufacturer. And if a person is hiring some labor and making this process done by them, then also the person who is hiring the labor will be called as manufacturer. This is the concept involved in manufacturer. Now the controversies involved here in the manufacturer is, actually, let us assume I am supplying a raw material. Okay, I am supplying a raw material to one person called as X. So I am supplying raw material to X. So let us assume B is supplying raw material to X. Now X will be carrying out the manufacture. X will be carrying out the manufacture. Now in this case, who is called as manufacturer? Whether the raw material supplier, that is B, or X, who will be called as manufacturer? So I am the raw material supplier to whom? To X. Raw material supplier to X. Clear? So I will be purchasing raw material and I am supplying that to X, and X will be carrying out the manufacture. So let us assume I am purchasing rubber and X is manufacturing shoes for me. Now who is the manufacturer? Clear? So now the raw material here is rubber and the product is shoes. Now I am supplying raw material to X who is manufacturing shoes. Now whether this process can be called as manufacturer? Yes, it can be called as manufacturer. But who will be called as manufacturer? Whether the raw material supplier VR or the manufacturer of shoes Exa. That is the controversy. So because of you are supplying raw material, you cannot say that you are the manufacturer. Okay. So only when the person, so because of simply supplying the raw material, you cannot be called as manufacturer. The person who is actually carrying on the manufacturing activity can be called as manufacturer. Can be called as manufacturer. So because of simply supplying raw material, you cannot be called as manufacturer. The person who is actually carrying out the activity of manufacture can be termed as manufacturer. Now let us assume you are supplying rubber to Mr. X and specifying the models. Models are specified. Let us assume design, model or design or quality. All these are specified by me. Let us assume I am a raw material supplier of rubber to Mr. X who is manufacturing shoes, and now in this case I am specifying him the design what I want, quality I want, and the models what I want. I am specifying it to the manufacturer, the person X. Now whether me Vishnu can be termed as manufacturer or the person who is doing the work is called as manufacturer means simply because if you are instructing him to provide some quality and if you are providing some design him to do the work on that basis and as per the designs which are given by you, you cannot be called as manufacturer. The person who is actually carrying out the work will be called as manufacturer. So now in this case this X will be called as job worker. Manufacturer of course, normally job worker. This process is nothing but called as job work. This process is nothing but called as job work. What is mean by job work means actually if any person is supplying raw material to some other person and getting his product manufactured by that person, then this process is nothing but called as job work, and the person who is carrying on job work is known as job worker, and the person who is supplying raw material is known as principal manufacturer, not manufacturer, principal manufacturer, and the person who is carrying on job work is job worker. Now in this case who is the manufacturer means the person who is carrying on the job work is known as manufacturer. But the principal manufacturer, there is an exception, but if the principal manufacturer Vishnu, if he is exercising control over the work, of the manufacturer, that is sorry job worker, or this is case 1, okay, or case 2, if the job worker is a dummy unit, is a dummy or fake unit. Clear? Then job worker will not be called as manufacturer in this case. Clear? In this case the manufacturer is nothing but principal manufacturer. Principal manufacturer will be called as manufacturer. Clear? Will be called as manufacturer. So nothing but one thing. Normally job worker is a manufacturer. Clear? But if principal manufacturer is having control or supervision over the what? Over the work, not on the quality, over the work of job worker. Clear? Over the work of job worker, or second situation is if the job worker is a dummy or fake unit, fake unit, fake unit, then in this case, principal manufacturer will be the manufacturer. In all the other case, job worker itself will be the manufacturer. Clear? So normally job worker, the person who is sending the raw material for manufacture purpose is not called as manufacturer. The person who is carrying on this work, that is nothing but job work, that is job worker, will be called as manufacturer generally. But if the principal manufacturer is exercising control or supervision over the work of job worker, or or job worker is a dummy or fake unit of principal manufacturer. In this case, principal manufacturer will be called as manufacturer. Clear? So for this, we can take an example which is given in our study material itself. So let us assume there is a papadwala. Okay. So the Messrs Papadwala. So Messrs Papadwala, what is the person doing here is he will be engaged in selling of papads. Okay. So how these papads will be prepared? Actually, he will not prepare the papads. He will give the raw material to household ladies. Household ladies. Household ladies. So the raw material will be given by this papadwala to the household ladies, and these household ladies will make these papads ready. Will make papads. Now this process is called as a job work process or not? This entire process is called as job work. Household ladies are called as job worker, and this papadwala will be called as principal manufacturer. Now, who is the manufacturer here? Obviously, household ladies. Obviously, it is household ladies who are called as manufacturer. Why? Because principal manufacturer, that is papadwala, is supplying only raw materials to the household ladies, and household ladies are the persons who are carrying on the activities, and they will be called as manufacturer, not the papadwala, provided that papadwala is not exercising any control over the work of household ladies. So if papadwala is not exercising any supervision or control over the work of the household ladies, then the household ladies itself called as manufacturers. If this fellow is exercising any control over work, then he will be called as manufacturer. Clear? So this is in relation to raw material supply. Now this is nothing but a papadwala supplying raw material and getting work done by some job workers. In that case, okay, fine. If there is a brand name owner, brand name owner, and this guy is supplying raw material to job worker, right, and getting the goods manufactured under his brand name, now whether the brand name owner can be called as manufacturer or raw material job worker is called as manufacturer, not the brand name owner, the job worker will be called as manufacturer. Why? Because whether he is a brand name owner or not is not relevant. Here simply is supplying raw material, and same case as in the earlier case. Clear? So the brand name owner will not be called as manufacturer. The person who is carrying on the work is nothing but called as manufacturer. So even in the same case, if the brand name owner is exercising any supervision over the quality of the product, if he is exercising control over quality, then it's okay. Clear? But if he exercises control over work, then brand name owner. he will be the manufacturer. Okay, manufacturer is the brand name owner. If control over quality, who will be the manufacturer? If brand name owner is exercising control over the quality of the job worker, then who will be called as manufacturer? Obviously, job worker will be called as manufacturer. Clear? In this case, brand name owner will be the manufacturer. So the concept is clear. So we have seen who is manufacturer. And the most important thing is here we can observe the ownership of raw material is not relevant. Not relevant. And one more important thing is, so whether it is raw material supplier and job worker, or whether it is brand name owner obviously raw material supplier, in any case the relationship should be like principal to principal basis. Okay, then who will be called as manufacturer? Job worker will be called as manufacturer. If it is principal to agent, then brand name owner will be called brand name owner or raw material supplier will be called as what? Manufacturer. If it is principal to principal basis, job worker will be called as manufacturer. Okay, if it is principal to agent basis, then raw material supplier or brand name owner will be called as manufacturer. Clear? Now, okay, we have covered the concepts like goods, accessible goods, manufacturer. Now we will see. So these are the situations which these are the conditions to be fulfilled for levying excise duty. Okay, fine. When we can collect? So actually, for any tax, there will be levy and collection. So if it is levied, it should be collected. If it is not levied, there is no question of collection. So if it is levied, it should be collected. So for levy, what is the thing required? Manufacture, right? Manufacture by a manufacturer of goods, accessible goods in India. All we discussed. So levy is over. Now what about the collection? When you are liable to pay is the question. So actually, when the liability is arising means at the stage of removal. So you are manufacturing a product. So at the stage of removal itself, you are liable to pay excise duty. At the stage of removal itself, you are liable to pay excise duty. See, when is duty liable to be paid? So at the stage of removal, you should pay excise duty. So on which type of removals is the excise duty liability to be paid? So we will see that. So let us assume you are manufacturing goods, then in a factory you are manufacturing goods. From factory you will be removing it. For what? For further sale. Then if you are removing it from factory for further sale, you can pay at the time of removal from factory. Or if you are not paying the excise duty from at the time of removal of factory and moving it to warehouse, where the place the goods manufactured by you will be stored, then at the time of removal of goods from the warehouse, then you are liable to pay excise duty. Clear? Next one, who is liable to pay excise duty? Clear? So one thing is, if you are removing it from factory for further sale or showroom or anywhere, or for place of sale, if you are removing goods from the factory, at the place of removal and the time of removal you are liable to pay excise duty. And if you are removing it without paying duty to warehouse, at the time of removal from warehouse you are liable to pay excise duty. So when means if you are removing it from factory, okay, then if you are removing it from warehouse, At the time of removal, you have to pay. But who is liable to pay? If it is at the time of removal from where? From factory or warehouse. So if it is from factory, manufacturer. If it is from warehouse, the person who stores in warehouse. Clear? So when you are liable to pay excess duty at the time of removal from factory or warehouse. If it is from factory, the manufacturer is liable to pay, and if it is from warehouse, the person who is storing in warehouse is liable to pay. Clear? But there is an exception to this rule. This is the general rule. For this, there is an exception. So what is the exception? Means Kansari molasses. Kansari molasses. So Kansari molasses, if they are produced or manufactured, then who is liable to pay excess duty? Means not the manufacturer, the person who is procuring this, the procurer, buyer or procurer, one and the same. So the person who is procuring this molasses from you, he is liable to pay excess duty. When he is liable to pay, not at the time of removal from the factory of the seller or original manufacturer, at the time of receipt in the procurer's factory. At the time of receipt in the procurer's factory. So when actually the general rule is the manufacturer is liable to pay excess duty if the goods are removed from factory at the time of removal. If the goods are removed from factory without paying duty and are stored in warehouse, then the person who is storing in warehouse is liable to pay excess duty at the time of removal of goods from the warehouse. But there is an exception to this general rule, that is nothing but if the goods are Kansari molasses, then in such case, who is liable to pay excess duty? The procurer of that Kansari molasses is liable to pay excess duty. And at what time he is liable to pay duty? At the time of receipt of such Kansari molasses, in whose factory? In the recipient's, the procurer's factory. The procurer's factory. So whenever the procurers receive such Kansari molasses to his factory, at that very moment he is liable to pay excess duty. So this is the case who is liable to pay duty and when the liability arises. So we have seen who is liable to pay duty, when he is liable to pay duty. So now we will see what is the relevant date for determining the rate of duty. So why actually this date is relevant for determining the rate of duty? So why we need relevant date? So let me explain first. So actually when the levy is happening, when the levy of excess duty is happening at the time of manufacture. Levy is happening at the time of manufacture, but whereas collection is at the time of removal. At the time of removal, right? Now let us assume while manufacturing the product, the rate of excess duty is 8%. At the time of collection, the rate of duty is 12%. Now what is the rate on which excess duty to be discharged? Yes or no? That is the question. So for determining this, we need relevant date which should be taken into consideration for levying excess duty at which rate. Clear? So we will see what is the relevant date. So actually in the book they have, in our institute study material, they have given clearly what is the relevant date in each case. Actually there are 4 cases for this relevant date. So when we manufacture excise goods, who is liable to pay excess duty? One is manufacturer, next storekeeper who is storing the goods in warehouse, next one is the procurer of Kansari molasses. Clear? In these 3 cases, what is the relevant date? Okay, we can see. And one more situation is also there. If you are manufacturing goods and such goods are captively consumed, then what is the relevant date to levy excess duty on those captively consumed goods if final product is exempt? Why? Because We already discussed captively consumed goods are not liable to excise duty if final product is taxable. If final product is exempt, capitally consumed good is taxable. On that excise duty can be levied, right? So we should know the relevant date even for determining the rate of duty for such capitally consumed goods. To levy excise duty on capitally consumed goods, we should know what is the relevant date to take the rate of excise duty. Clear? Let us assume capitally consumed goods may be manufactured today and they are utilized for further capitally consumed manufacturing, or for the, let us assume, let me take an example. Let us assume on 30th March 2014 you are manufacturing tires, okay, but on 5th April 2014 you are issuing it for the production of car, manufacture of car. Now whether we should take this to March liability or to April liability, because it is further issued for manufacture on 5th. So this is the issue. So we should know when it is liable to pay excise duty and what is the rate and what is the relevant date. So there is a clear table given in the institute material. By going through that, we can easily finish off the concept. So actually, when it is an excisable goods other than Kansari molasses, then who is liable to pay excise duty? Manufacturer. When he should pay? At the time of removal from factory. So what is the relevant date for determining the rate of duty? The date of removal. That means on the date of removal, whatever is the rate, on that rate you should levy excise duty. Sorry, at that rate you should levy excise duty. Using that rate you should levy excise duty. Clear? So on the date of removal, what is the rate that should be taken into consideration, not the rate which is prevalent on the date of manufacture. We should not consider the date of manufacture. We should consider the rate which is prevalent on the date of removal of goods. Clear? So in this case, we are seeing the particulars. What are the type of goods? Person who is liable to pay excise duty. Event for duty payment. That means when you are liable to pay excise duty. Here, relevant date. So relevant date means on the relevant date, whatever is the rate, with that rate we will discharge excise duty liability. So if excisable goods are other than Kansari molasses, who is liable to pay excise duty? Manufacturer is liable to. When he is liable to pay excise duty? At the time of removal from factory. And at what is the relevant date? The date of removal. Date of removal from the factory. So if the excisable goods are Kansari molasses, then procurer of Kansari molasses is liable to pay excise duty. When he is liable to pay duty? At the time of receipt of such Kansari molasses into his factory. What is the relevant date? Same, the date of receipt of Kansari molasses in his factory. Next, excisable goods produced and captively consumed. Third one, captive consumption in a factory. Then who is liable to pay excise duty? Manufacturer itself liable to pay excise duty, provided that final product is exempt. This is a case where captively consumed goods are liable to excise duty because final product is exempt. Okay, then manufacturer is liable to pay excise duty when the captively consumed goods, that means the product which is intermediate product you produce, when these products are issued for further production, or manufacture, on that day you are liable to pay excise duty, and that is the relevant date for us. So when you are liable to pay excise duty, issuance of goods for further production, and what is the relevant date on which the goods are issued for such use. Clear? That is the relevant date. Next one, if the excisable goods are produced in a factory and stored in a warehouse, who is liable to pay excise duty? The person who stores it in warehouse. Yeah, the person who stores such goods in a warehouse, he is liable to pay excise duty. When he is liable to pay duty? We are seeing who is liable, when he is liable, and what is the relevant date. Who is liable? The person who stores it in warehouse. When he is liable? At the time of removal from warehouse. At the time of removal from warehouse. Clear? Next, what is the relevant date? The date of removal from warehouse is the relevant date. So on that date, whatever is the rate of excise duty is there, we will take it into consideration for calculating excise duty. Clear? So simply by seeing an example, you will get an idea. So you will see a small problem which is given in our study material itself. With that, the concept will be clarified. So before that, I will tell you two small concepts in relation to this itself. Now let us assume I am manufacturing goods on 5th April 2014 and removal from factory on 31st May 2014. Sorry, 2014. Clear? So now manufacture is on 5th April, removal is on 31st May. So what is the date on which you have to pay excise duty? Here there is a levy, yes or no? And at the date of removal there should be a collection. So on the date of manufacture there is levy, on the date of removal there is collection. So let us assume on the date of manufacture the rate of excise duty is 5%, on the date of removal 8%. So in this case what will be the excise duty rate? This is itself the question mark, and for this itself we discussed a concept called relevant date. Yes or no? For this itself we have discussed a concept called relevant date. So what is the relevant date here? When the goods are removed from factory, what is the relevant date? The date of removal. So here the relevant date is for us what? 31st May 2014. So this is the relevant date, and on this date what is the rate? 8%. That itself will become excise duty rate. Clear? That's why we are talking about relevant date. Okay. So who is liable to pay excise duty? In this case, manufacturer. When he is liable to pay? 31st May. At what rate he is liable to pay? Whatever the rate is prevailing on the relevant date. What is the relevant date? On the date of removal itself will be the relevant date. Clear? So in this case, what is the date of removal? 31st May. What is the rate prevalent on that day? 8%. So that itself will become the excise duty rate. Clear? So here we can understand the significance of relevant date. Clear? Now okay. So this is the case. At the time of manufacture the rate is different, and at the time of removal the rate is different. So this is nothing but change in rate post manufacture. That means after manufacture, right? But before removal. So this is the first aspect discussed here, some special aspects in the institute material. So change in rate of duty between the date of manufacture and the date of removal. Then what is the situation? So there is a change in rate when after manufacture, change in rate of duty after manufacture, but before removal. So there is a conflict arising. So at that time, what is the solution? We will go for the relevant date. So on the relevant date, whatever is the rate existing, we will take that. So clear? So next special concept is, so actually next aspect is goods becoming excisable or dutiable post manufacture but before removal. That is goods becoming excisable or dutiable post manufacture but before removal. So what is this actually? I will tell you. So let us assume the manufacture date is same. Let us take 5th April 2014 and the removal is on 31st May 2014. Clear? So now actually these are non-excisable goods. Non-excisable goods on the date of manufacture, but at the time of removal they are subjected to 8% duty. Now whether on this we can pay excise duty or not is a question mark. Whether we should pay excise duty on this or not is a question mark. So actually at the time of manufacture there is a levy and collection normally, right? Now tell me whether at the time of manufacture is there levy? At the time of manufacture is there, that means whether any excise duty is payable on that? No, right? There is no levy at the time of manufacture itself. When there is levy, you can go for collection. When there is no levy at all, how can you collect? Clear? So first thing is whether to determine the excise duty is payable on a product which is subjected to excise duty post manufacture, but before removal we have to see what? Levy. Levy is not there. Obviously question of collection does not arise. Yes or no? Why? Because when there is no levy, no question of collection. Yes or no? Why? Because here the levy itself not there at the time of manufacture. Then where comes the question of collection? So whether I should pay at 8% or 15% or 20%, it doesn't matter. Only thing is that itself, the product itself is not subjected to excise duty at the time of manufacture. So there is no question of levy itself. Automatically no question of collection. Clear? So in this case, excise duty is not liable for excise duty. Clear? Why? Because there is no levy at the time of manufacture, so no question of collection at the time of removal. That means if any goods which is not subjected to excise duty at the time of manufacture but later on becomes excisable, that is before removal, so on the date of removal it is liable to excise duty. So we cannot say that it is liable to excise duty. We have to see whether even at the time of manufacture it is liable to excise duty or not. If it is liable to excise duty at the time of manufacture, that means let us assume there is 0% rate. Yes, there is a levy because 0% is also a percentage. Hence there is a levy. So at the time of removal there is 8%. I will take 8%. We can argue. Not argue. We can decide. But if it is not at all subjected to excise duty at the time of manufacture, if it is not at all subjected to excise duty at the time of manufacture, where comes the question of collection? At the time of removal, because of there is some rate existing, there is no question of collecting it. Why? Because there is no levy at all. Clear? Let us assume at the time of manufacture it is exempted. It is exempted. Now at the time of removal it is subjected to 8%. Now what we will do? 8%. Why? Because even though it is exempted at the time of manufacture, it is subjected to excise duty and the excise duty liability is exempted. Clear? So in that case, at the time of manufacture there is levy but exempted. But there is a levy. Clear? Now in this case, at the time of removal, you should see what is the rate prevalent and we will decide according to that rate the excise duty liability. Clear? So with this we have covered the two main special aspects under this, and we will see a problem so that you will be getting some better idea over the concept which we discussed. Now see this illustration. Now what is the value of goods they have given there, and date of manufacture, rate of duty, date of removal, rate of duty on date of removal they have given. Now see, the value of goods is 10,000 on the date of manufacture 28th February 2012. The rate is 10%. Date of removal is 20th March. The rate on the date of removal is 12%. What is the rate which we have to consider for discharging excise duty liability? The relevant date is date of removal. So on that date, whatever is the rate, that will be the rate for excise duty, 12%. Second case, 25,000, 20th June, 12% manufacturing. Date of removal is 25th September. Rate is 12% plus additional duty of 6% is imposed with effect from 1/7/2013. Now tell me what is the rate applicable here. So 12% here itself. Why? Because the additional duty 6% is not at all levied at the time of manufacture. So we cannot collect it at the time of removal. So 30,000. Next, manufacture date it is 23/6/2013. At the time of manufacture the goods is exempt. At the date of removal exemption is withdrawn and liable to 12%. Now what is the rate? 12%. Why? Because at the time of manufacture it is subjected to excise duty but goods are exempt with a notification. So there is a levy but they are exempted. So we discussed in the example itself. So at the time of removal it is 12%. So we can take 12%. Next one is 60,000. Date of manufacture is 25th February and on date of manufacture it is 10%. On date of removal it is 15%. Obviously 15%. So that is the example there. So even we are having one more example for Kansari molasses. So nothing but on Kansari molasses, who is liable to pay excess duty? Procurer of Kansari molasses. What is the date when he is liable to pay excess duty? At the time of receipt it into the factory. So what is the relevant date there? Whatever the date he receives into the factory, that is the relevant date. On that date, whatever is the rate, he will be discharging his excess duty liability on that rate. Now we are entering into concept called as classification. So classification up to your level. Classification. Classification of goods. So classification of goods. So actually they have classified the goods in excess duty according to HSN, harmonized system of nomenclature. Harmonized system of nomenclature. Harmonized system of nomenclature. So harmonized system of nomenclature. So what is this harmonized system of nomenclature? Means this is the universal classification of goods. So across the world, most of all the countries will be classifying their goods for their relevant class based on harmonized system of nomenclature. Universally classification of goods. Universal classification of goods. So our excise duty has excise duty laws has SETA. Under SETA, the goods will be notified, right? So the goods should be classified under different heads. So that is done, and this classification is based on harmonized system of nomenclature. This harmonized system of nomenclature is nothing but universal classification of goods. Clear? Universally, the way they classify, universal way for classification of goods. Clear? So okay, classification of goods is there. Why this is required? They are classifying the goods. Clear? They are classifying the goods. Why they are classifying the goods? Actually, for classifying the goods, the need is to determine whether the goods are exempted from excise duty, to determine what is the rate. Clear? So like this, there are some different issues for which the classification is necessary. Let us assume all agricultural products, let us assume all agricultural products are exempt. So now we should see whether tomato sauce is an agricultural product or not. Yes or no? We cannot blindly say it is an agricultural product or it is a commercial product. They should classify it. Yes or no? So now tomato sauce should be classified under agriculture or some other heading. If it is classified under agriculture product only, they can get exemption. Otherwise, they will not get exemption under agriculture product. So classification is necessary for any product to determine whether any exemption is available to that or not, whether any abatements are there, what is the scheme of valuation. Clear? So for all these things, classification is necessary. So because for this only classification has been made, and as we know, classification of goods is done according to HSN, harmonized system of nomenclature. If there is any conflict for you in classifying goods according to excise laws, you can refer harmonized system of nomenclature. Harmonized system of nomenclature. Even harmonized system of nomenclature is not able to clarify your doubt, then you should follow trade parlance theory. Here we should follow trade parlance theory. So what is this trade parlance theory all about? So let us assume I am not able to classify whiskey. Let us assume I am not at all able to classify whiskey. Under which head it should come, I am not able to classify. Okay? Now whiskey cannot be classified using excise laws. Let us assume under any head. We will go to what? Harmonized system of nomenclature. So even harmonized system of nomenclature is not able to classify whiskey. Now we should follow trade parlance theory. Trade parlance theory. What trade parlance theory says? What is the popular meaning? What is the popular meaning in normal trade for this good? For this good. What is the popular meaning for this product in normal trade. Now tell me whether the people sees whiskey as alcohol product or medicine. Why? Because doctors itself will suggest whiskey daily 3 ounce or something quantity, even I don't know. So they will say that it is good for health. So that is even advisable by doctors. Okay. Now whether I can call whiskey as medicine because doctors are suggesting whiskey 3 ounce or 2 ounce per day good for health. So whether I can classify whiskey under medicine or alcohol. Normally whiskey means what the people will understand in normal trade parlance, alcohol. So we will classify this as alcohol, not as medicine. Clear? So when you are not able to classify any product, when you are not able to classify any product under any head, then you will refer to HSN. Even HSN is not showing you the way, then you will go to trade parlance theory. So what is trade parlance theory? What is the normal popular meaning of that word in the normal course of trade? That you should take it and you will classify under that head. Now whiskey I will classify under which head? Alcohol. So whether excise duty is liable on alcohol? No. So excise duty is not applicable. Clear? So for this classification is necessary. So classification is necessary for what? To levy excise duty or not, to give exemption or not, to avail abatement or not. What is the basis for valuing or what? So like this, classification is required for various purposes. Now we are entering into valuation. Very important concept where you can get problems for your examination is valuation. So valuation, why valuation is required? To determine your excise duty liability, we need value, no? Clear? So determine your excise duty liability, we need valuation because we know the rate of excise duty. On what value this rate should be applied, that we should find out, no? So valuation is broadly classified into three types. Sorry, not three, four. So one is specific duty. Valuation can be done as per specific duty method. Next is compounded levy scheme. Next one is capacity of production. Capacity of production. Next one is last one is nothing but ad valorem. That is based on value. Here based on value. So what is specific duty? What is compounded levy scheme? What is capacity of production? What is ad valorem? Again in turn, ad valorem is divided into three. It is tariff value method under section 3 subsection 2. Next RSP under section 4A. Next transaction value under section 4. So these are the different types of methods for valuation. So what is each method all about, we will talk. So first one we will take what? Specific duty. Number one, specific duty we will take. So first one is specific duty. How the valuation is done under specific duty. So clearly straight away, very simple method, very simple, very simple. So very simple method, specific duty. So how we calculate duty under specific duty method? So the government itself will declare duty based on unit, that is measurement, weight, length, volume, etc. Based on this itself, they will give duty. On that duty, we will discharge. As per the duty, we will discharge our excise duty liability. So example, what is the example? We have a very good example. So let us assume on cigarettes, they will levy excise duty based on length of cigarette. Length of cigarette. Clear? Length of cigarette. That means in case of specific duty, they will straight away give what is the government itself will specify the duty payable. The duty liability amount itself will be decided by central government itself based on the measurement units. Okay, what is the length, what according to weight or according to their height, according to volume or weight, whatever it is. According to that, the government itself will fix some duty. Based on that, we will discharge the excise duty liability. Price of the good what you manufactured is not at all relevant for the government to levy excise duty in this case. Clear? Let us assume cigarette is 3 centimeter and on 1 centimeter the government will be levying, on 1 centimeter the government will be levying 10 rupees as excise duty. 10 rupees as excise duty. Now let us assume the cigarette is 3 centimeter and you are manufacturing 10,000 units, 10,000 cigarettes, 10,000 cigarettes. Now what is the excise duty liability? 10,000 cigarettes, each cigarette is how many centimeter? 3 centimeter into, for 1 centimeter how many rupees, how much is the excise duty? 10 rupees. So now 30 into 10,000, 3 lakh will be the excise duty on this. 3 lakh will be the excise duty on this. As simple as possible. So specific duty means nothing but the duty will be levied on unit of the product, that is based on weight, height, length, volume, etc. So we will take how many units we have produced. Based on that, we will calculate excise duty. So one more example we can have that. Let us assume we are manufacturing sulfur. We are manufacturing sulfur. The government says ₹20 per kg is the excise duty on sulfur. So let us assume I am manufacturing 1000 kgs of sulfur this month. What is my excise duty liability? Obviously, excise duty is equal to ₹20 per kg. How many kgs there? 1000 kgs. Obviously, 20,000 will be my excise duty liability. Clear? So this is nothing but excise duty based on specific duty method. Clear? So second method. Second method is compounded levy scheme. Compounded levy scheme. Compounded levy scheme. So in this method, based on what? Based on size of equipment or other production factors, central government will specify what are the other production factors. Okay, they will specify. Based on that factors, we will be levying excise duty. So what are these production factors? Means actually, example, let us assume you are having machinery for production or manufacturing your factory. So based on this number of machineries you are having, they will levy excise duty. Clear? So that means production factors like machinery, size of equipments and all, they will be levying excise duty. That is nothing but compounded levy scheme. So compounded levy scheme, let us take an example. So let us assume I am having a factory of manufacturing steel pattas. Steel pattas. So steel pattas is a product. This is a good. Okay. To manufacture this good, I need a cold rolling machine. Cold rolling machine. I need a cold rolling machine. So this cold rolling machine is a machinery for me, and the government says whatever the amount you manufacture as steel pattas, we doesn't care anything. So you pay excise duty based on number of machineries you are having. So for each machinery, each month you pay ₹40,000 as excise duty. The government says like this. So now let us assume I am having 5 machineries. Then what will be my excise duty liability? 5 into 40k, right? 2 lakhs. Here, this is my exciseduty liability. So, compounded levy scheme is also nothing but the size based on the size of equipment or other production factors. The government will fix or notify the duty value, excess duty to be discharged by you. So, based on that, you will be discharging your excess duty liability, not based on the amount of goods you produced. Okay. So, whatever the amount of goods you have produced, what is the rate at which they have been sold out in the market, all that is irrelevant for the government. All that is irrelevant for the government. Clear? So this is nothing but compounded levy scheme. Compounded levy scheme. Understood? Compounded levy scheme. So next one is capacity of production. Based on capacity of production, what we will do? We will determine the excess duty liability. Based on capacity of production. So this is also a very simple concept. Nothing but so the government itself will specify goods. Specify goods which come under capacity of production valuation method. Capacity of production valuation method. So the government itself will specify such goods which will come under capacity of production valuation method to levy excise duty. Clear? So example, we can take some tobacco, pan masala. So for all these type of industries, the government will itself at the time of issuing license or at some other time will come and fix the capacity of production for such factory. So let us take, there is a factory of pan masala. So pan masala is specified by central government and it should be valued as per capacity of production method. So for that factory, they will send the officer, central excise officer will be sent, and he will determine the capacity of production of such factory. Okay. So for this factory, they will determine the capacity of production. So based on this production, capacity of production, they will discharge their excise duty liability. Excise duty liability. Now here, actual production is not at all relevant. Actual production is not at all relevant. Clear? So whether, let us assume the determination of capacity of production is determined by the central excise officer as 10,000 units. But actually I am producing 25,000 units actually. Now on what we have to pay excise duty? Only on 10,000 units. Why? Because actual production is not relevant. Only the capacity of production, what is determined by the central excise department, that only relevant, and only on that we will pay excise duty. So actual production is not at all relevant. Clear? And one more thing, very important is, this method is mandatory. This is mandatory because it is specified, the goods are specified by the central government which are covered under capacity of production. So this is a mandatory provision which you have to follow if you are manufacturing the goods specified by the central government which are to be covered under capacity of production method. But whereas compounded levy scheme is an optional one, whether you have to follow or you don't want to follow, that is your will and wish. So compounded levy scheme is purely a optional scheme, but whereas capacity of production is a mandatory scheme. So keep in mind, very important, compounded levy scheme is a optional scheme. Whether you want to follow or you are not willing to follow, that is your wish. But capacity of production, which is covered by department itself, which is the government itself declaring some goods which are to be covered under capacity of production, then you should definitely follow capacity of production. That is a, so this is mandatory provision. Mandatory. This is optional. Clear? Very important. Very important. Optional and mandatory. Clear? So compounded levy scheme is a optional scheme and capacity based production is a mandatory scheme. Now we will see what is ad valorem. Under ad valorem, first one is tariff value. So tariff value under section 3 subsection 2. So what is this tariff value method? We will see. So tariff value under section 3 subsection 2. So what this tariff value talks about? So even in this situation also, central government will specify goods which comes under tariff value. Goods coming under tariff value method. Central government itself will specify goods coming under tariff value method, and central government will fix tariff. On this tariff you have to pay excise duty. Clear? On this tariff you have to pay excise duty. So let us assume there is an assessable value of goods of 10,000 rupees. Assessable value, what it is, we will discuss in transaction value. So for the time being, you assume that 10,000 is nothing but the sale price of a good. So 10,000 is the assessable value, and tariff value is always given in form of percentage, by the central government. So tariff value will be in form of percentage. So let us assume tariff value on that is 30%. Now we will pay excise duty not on 10,000, it is on tariff value, that is 30% is how much? 3,000. On this, if the excise duty is 12.36%, we will discharge accordingly. Clear? So we will take the example which is given in the book itself. There is a problem given in the book. So actually, first one thing keep in mind, tariff value means the tariff value method will be adopted for such goods which are specified by central government itself, and the tariff value will be given in form of percentage by the central government itself. So in that case, we will not take actually the transaction value for which the goods are sold. Okay, we will take the tariff value, the percentage given on the sale price. On that we will levy excise duty. So first thing is, there is an example given in the problem. So with that you will get better clarity. See, the central government is empowered to notify the goods. So actually the central government itself will notify the goods, and the value is already fixed. The value is already fixed. That is nothing but tariff value. Whatever the value is fixed, we are calling it as tariff value. On that tariff value, we will levy excise duty rate. According to that, we will calculate excise duty liability. So for example, let us see. So X Limited is manufacturing a ready-made garments of 10 lakhs. See, the problem is nothing but, so a retail manufacturer is manufacturing a garments. Cost how much? Rupees 10 lakhs for him. Cost to him is rupees 10 lakhs. Sale price is rupees 30 lakhs. Retail sale price on that is rupees 30 lakhs. Now let us assume the government has declared tariff value on such garments as 30%. Education duty percentage, let us assume inclusive of excise duty and education session, secondary higher education session is 12.36%. Now what is the excise duty liability on this? Is nothing but, see, so actually what we are talking, the tariff value should be levied on the retail sale price. RSP is how much? Rupees 30 lakhs. Clear? On this we will make tariff value how much? 30%. That gives you tariff value as 9 lakhs. Clear? Now excise duty is equals to rupees 9 lakhs into 12.36%. Then you will get the figure. Clear? So nothing but the central government will notify certain goods which will be coming under tariff value. Then in such case, the goods tariff value will be fixed in percentage by the central government itself. Now we should take the RSP on the value of the goods for which they are meant to be sold outside. On that we will levy tariff value percentage. On that we will levy again excise duty percentage, which is nothing but the excise duty liability to be discharged by us. So clear? So on RSP we will levy tariff value percentage. Then we will give the tariff value. So this percentage is fixed by whom? Central government. Whether these garments coming under tariff value are fixed by us or government, whether it should come under tariff value, whether that is decided by us or government, that is also by central government. So goods coming under central tariff value will be fixed by central government, and at what percentage the tariff value should be calculated, that also will be determined by central government. So based on the tariff value, after applying it on the sale price or RSP of the goods, we will get tariff value. On that we will levy excise duty percentage, then we can get the excise duty liability. Here this is nothing but valuation according to on base of tariff value. So with this tariff value is over. Next there are only two other methods remaining. Next one is RSP method. So RSP method. What is RSP method? We will see. So RSP based valuation. RSP based valuation under section 4A. So to come under RSP based valuation, there are two conditions. First one is the goods should come under Legal Metrology Act or under any law. Under any law. Under any law. So such law requires to declare RSP on such goods. Clear? So what is this? I will explain. So first to come under second condition also we will discuss, and then the goods should be notified by central government to be valued under section 4A. So what is this actually? So these are cumulative conditions. That means both should be satisfied. Cumulative conditions, both should be satisfied. So what is the first one? So nothing but we are taking a goods and they should be valued for levying excise duty. Clear? So whether it should come under RSP or not, we can determine by seeing the two conditions. One thing is the goods should be covered under Legal Metrology Act or any other law. Okay, it is covered. Then what is the case? That is covered under any other law, and that law should require, that means that law should say the goods should be declared. The goods should be having RSP declared on that. Yeah. So first one is the goods should be covered under any law for time being in force, Legal Metrology Act or any other law, and that law should require that RSP should be declared on such goods. Clear? RSP should be declared on such goods. And second condition is nothing but the central government should notify that goods to be covered under section 4A. That means the goods should be valued according to RSP. If both are satisfied, only it will come under RSP valuation. If any one is not satisfied, it will not come under RSP valuation. That means if the goods are notified by the central government to come under RSP section 4A, but if they are not covered under any other law which says to declare RSP on that, then RSP valuation section 4A will not apply. Okay, if the goods are covered under Legal Metrology Act or any other law which says to declare RSP on such goods, but it is not notified by central government to take it into RSP valuation, then also it will not apply. If only both the conditions, that is goods should come under Legal Metrology Act or under any law, such law requires to declare RSP on such goods, Next one is goods should be notified by central government to be valued under section 4A. Then only RSP valuation comes. So okay, RSP valuation comes, then what is the value? If RSP valuation comes, the value shall be RSP declared on such goods minus abatement. So now you can think, what is abatement? So actually RSP will be declared by us. RSP is known, right? RSP is known. What about abatement? Abatement is nothing but a small percentage of discount or exemption given. We can assume that. So abatement is declared by central government. Abatement is declared by central government. So let us take an example of biscuits. So on biscuits, abatement is 30%. On biscuits, abatement is 30%. Biscuits are coming under section 4A, that is RSP valuation. Okay. Now on this, what is the excise duty payable? So let us assume good day biscuit packet rupees 15. On this, what is the abatement? 30%, determined by the government, 30%. So after abatement, what is the value? Rupees. Okay, actually rupees 15 is the biscuit RSP. Okay, so rupees 15 minus 30%, how much? Rupees 10.5. 30% 4.5, so 10.5 will be the value. On this value you will levy rupees 10.5 into 12.36. let us assume excise duty. So this is excise duty, this is value. Clear? So if any good should come under RSP, means the good should be covered under Legal Metrology Act or any other law which requires RSP to be declared on such goods, and goods should be notified by central government to be covered under RSP valuation, that is section 4A. In such case, what will be the value? If both the conditions are satisfied, then the value shall be RSP minus abatement declared by the government. If there is no abatement, no problem, RSP will be the value. So let us assume the RSP declared on good day biscuit packet is 15 rupees. Actually, abatement available for biscuits is 30%, declared by central government itself. So in this case, what will be the excise duty liability? If excise duty rate is 12.36%. So first we take value. We have to determine value under section 4A. So what we will take? RSP minus abatement. What is RSP? 15 rupees on the packet minus 30% abatement. This is rupees 10.5 is the RSP, value under RSP valuation. On this we will apply 12.36% to get excise duty liability. Clear? Next one is transaction value method. Transaction value method. So before going to transaction value method, I have to share some points regarding RSP valuation. So we have seen that how we will value this. So suppose let us assume this is a Santur soap. On this, the RSP is rupees 20 for sale in AP. Let us assume, and on this again there is another MRP rupees 25 for sale in Tamil Nadu. Clear? So in this case, what is the RSP which we should take for determining value under section 4A? Under section 4A, what we need? RSP minus abatement, right? So here, what is the RSP? Rupees 20 or rupees 25 or? Right? There is a doubt. So in this case, whichever is higher, whichever price is high. That means if there is more than one RSP, on a packet, okay, then we should take the highest RSP as RSP. Clear? So maximum RSP shall be deemed to be the RSP if there is more than one RSP on a package. So in this case, the package is having more than one RSP declared on that. In this case, we will take whichever is the highest. Okay, so 25 rupees is the highest MRP, that RSP or MRP, whatever it is. So RSP and MRP both are nothing but one and the same. So here rupees 25 we will take it as RSP. So let us assume Santur, both are Santur soaps, and on this there is 20 rupees MRP. On this MRP is 25. So actually they are manufacturing this soap for sale in AP, only for sale in AP. Here the soaps are manufactured only for sale in Karnataka. Sale in Karnataka. Now in this case, what the RSP I should take? Whichever is higher? No. Why? Because if there is only one RSP on the package and it is not giving any conflict, so there is no need to go for highest MRP. But you should see there is different RSP on different packages for what? For sale in different areas. Then in such case, individual RSP will be taken as RSP. So in this case, RSP 20 rupees will be taken as 20 rupees for whatever the products you manufacture, units you release. In this case, rupees 25 will be taken as RSP. So if there is only more than one RSP on same package, then you will take the highest RSP. If there is more than one RSP on same package, you will take highest RSP as RSP. But if there are different RSPs on different packages meant for sale in different areas, so here different packages different RSPs for what? Sale in sale sale in different areas. Then you should consider individual MR. Consider individual RSPs. Okay, so that means only if there is on RSP, sorry, if there is only if there is different RSP on same pack, you should come to this situation. That is whichever is high. If there is different RSPs on different packages meant for sale in different areas, you should consider individual RSPs itself. No need to take highest RSP. So clear? Next one is, at the time of removal I am declaring RSP as rupees 20 when at the time of removal, but after removal I am altering it as 25 when later, that is after removal. Clear? In this case, what is the RSP I should take? Means whatever the increased RSP is there, that will be taken as RSP. Clear? That means at the time of removal the RSP is different, but after the removal, if the RSP is increased, okay, in such case increased RSP will be taken as RSP. Increased RSP will be taken as RSP. Now in RSP, last point is nothing but, so declaration of RSP is mandatory. Here we came to know that, yes or no? Because declaration of RSP is mandatory under the law covered by that product, okay, and the law under which the product is covered. And second one is central government is also notifying that to be valued under 4 years. So because of this, we are clear that the RSP declaration is mandatory on the product for coming under RSP valuation. But if the declaration of RSP is not mandatory on the wholesale packages, if they are sold to institutional or industrial buyers. So who are institutional or industrial buyers? Means nothing but the persons engaged in service sector who will be purchasing in bulk quantities the product for its customers, not meant for sale on retail basis. Let us assume I am having a retail shop and I will be purchasing water bottles in wholesale packages for what? For selling them individually on a retail basis. Each bottle I will be selling it, example 15 rupees. But whereas Kingfisher Airlines will purchase the same water bottles from the same company in wholesale bulk basis. But whether they will be selling that to the passengers in flight? Will anybody carry water bottle shouting in the flight? No. So institutional buyers will purchase the product on wholesale basis for their customers, not for retail sale. Yeah. So on these packages released or removed for institutional buyers, there is no need to declare RSP on wholesale packages. There is no need to declare RSP on wholesale packages. So nothing but RSP declaration is not mandatory in case where the wholesale packages are sold for institutional or industrial buyers. That is the situation. So now we will see the last concept, transaction value in the valuation methods. So transaction value under section 4. So transaction value method under section 4. So transaction value under section 4. So under transaction value, what is the value? So under transaction value, actually assessable value itself will be taken as transaction value. So what is assessable value means nothing but we will see and when this is applicable. So assessable value will be applicable if three conditions are satisfied. So transaction value under section 4 talks about the value on which excise duty should be levied. So for that the value shall be assessable value. So what is assessable value? We will see. So assessable value shall be the transaction value under section 4 following if following three conditions are satisfied. So what are the three conditions? Means price is the sole consideration. Price is the sole consideration. Price is the sole consideration. Buyer and seller are not related. Are not related. Next, last condition is sale shall happen at the time and place of removal. And place of removal. Clear? In this case, the assessable value will be the transaction value. So what are the three conditions? Price is the sole consideration. You should not be receiving any other consideration from the buyer. Buyer and seller are not related, and the sale shall happen at the time and place of removal. So if all these three conditions, all these three conditions are satisfied, then assessable value shall be the transaction value. What if one of the conditions is not satisfied? That is discussed in final level of CA. So they not at all required at this point. So if all this per transaction value method, there is only one type of valuation for you for IPC syllabus, that is assessable value. So if price is the sole consideration, buyer and seller are not related, then sale shall happen at the time and place of removal. Then we call it as assessable value will be determined, and that assessable value itself will be the transaction value under section 4. So we will see how we will value the assessable value. So after analyzing all the things given in transaction value definition and assessable value definition, assessable value is nothing but the transaction value, transaction value is nothing but the assessable value if all the three conditions are satisfied. Nothing but both transaction value and assessable value are one and the same. So we will see what is transaction value. So transaction value is nothing but price charged, in simple terms, price charged plus any amount paid, to seller or to any person on behalf of seller. By whom? By buyer. Okay, so that will be included, and this should be in connection with sale. In connection with sale. Clear? So what is transaction value? Price charged by the seller from the buyer, plus if the buyer is paying any sum additionally to the seller, or to any other third person on behalf of the seller. Okay, let us assume A is selling goods to B. A is selling goods and B is paying 10,000 rupees to A. Okay, and what A says, A also asks B to pay C a sum of 500 which is due by A to C. Due. Clear? So in this case, 10,000 rupees. Clear? B is paying directly to A, price charge, plus any amount paid to seller or on behalf of seller. So on behalf of A, here B is paying to C how much? 500 rupees. So this is nothing but A's obligation discharged by B. For what? In connection of this sale. So this amount will also be included. Clear? So this 10,500 will be the transaction value in this case. Clear? So this is nothing but transaction value. So there are certain items which can be included in the transaction value and there are certain items which are excluded. So we will see what are the items included and what are the items excluded from transaction value. So normally inclusions given in your material are just illustrative, not exhaustive. That means just they have given the examples in an illustrative manner, not exhaustive manner. Okay, so what are the illustrative examples which can be included in transaction value? So if any expenses are in connection with sale, then almost all expenses are included, but there are certain exclusions. We will see first what are the exclusions. So normally excise duty should not be included in the transaction value. Why? Because on excise duty we cannot levy again excise duty, so that should be excluded, and on the remaining part only you should levy excise duty. Sales tax should not be taken and other taxes should not be taken to calculate excise duty. Now see what are the items which are included or excluded. So outward handling expenses. So outward handling expenses means nothing but while moving the goods outside the factory, we will be making some loading into some goods carriage and we will be unloading the same goods from the goods carriage while you are delivering the goods. So in that case, outward handling charges paid can be taken into transaction value or not. Means yes, they can be taken only up to the place of removal. That means only up to the place of removal. If you are incurring any outward handling charges, that can be included in the transaction value or accessible value. But if the outward handling charges are incurred for the transportation outside the place of removal, then that should not be included. Clear? So next, packing. So packing charges, packing expenses, whether that can be includable or excluded, means all packing charges are included. All packing charges are included except reusable or durable packing excluded. Normally all packings are includable except reusable or durable packings. So what are normally packings? We will be doing primary packing and all those, this and those. So all types of packings are for special packing or general packing or protective packing, whatever. The all packings are included in the value, but any packing cost which is reusable or durable, nothing but let us assume I am purchasing 100 bottles of tins, 100 Coke bottles, not Coke, 100 Coke bottles. So these 100 Coke bottles are used in manufacture of what? Coke. Now whether I can use again these 100 Coke bottles for another production or not? Yes. So let us assume I am purchasing each Coke bottle for 10 rupees and each bottle can be used 10 times. Yes or no? Now these rupees of 10 cannot be included in the price of one Coke bottle itself. Why? Because this Coke bottle, okay, can be used again for 9 more times. That means totally it is usable for 10 times and I bought that Coke bottle, glass bottle, for 10 rupees. Is it logical to include this entire 10 rupees value on the first bottle itself? No. So because of this bottle is a reusable packing material, and this reusable and durable packing material will be amortized over 10 times. So there is no need to include it again in the value. So this will be already amortized while calculating the cost of product based on the cost sheet. In the cost sheet itself, they will include this reusable or durable product value for each product, and based on that they will determine the sale price. So there is no need to again include the reusable or durable packing materials expense because they will be already amortized. All other remaining packing expenses are includable. So there are certain examples in this. The main concept in this is the different thing is bought out items and accessories. So what are bought out items and accessories? So first you should know the difference between parts and accessories. Parts and accessories. So what are parts? What are accessories? Means actually parts are the things which gives the completeness to the product. Accessories gives just comfort to the product. Parts give the completeness to the product. Accessories gives comfort to the product. Comfort to use the product. So let us assume we are having a motor vehicle. So for that motor vehicle, engine is a part, whereas seat cover is an accessory. So the value of engine should be added to the transaction value, but value of seat cover should not be added to transaction value. Why? Because engine is a part without which the product cannot be completed, whereas accessory is a part which gives just comfortness in the use of product. Clear? So any part can be included, but accessory cannot be included in the transaction value. Clear? Next, discounts. I am discussing only main points in this. Other things just by reading you can understand. Next point is discounts. All forms of discounts are excluded. All forms of discount, trade discount, cash discount, quality discount, turnover discount, all discounts should be excluded. So there is a concept called price cum duty. So price cum duty. Price cum duty. What is this price cum duty? Means this says the value itself including excise duty. We will assume that the value itself is included with excise duty. When is the situation when we will assume the value itself is included with excise duty? Means if the assessee has collected less duty from the buyer, then what is due? Actually you should collect 12.36 as excise duty. Okay, but you are collecting only 8% as excise duty. Okay, only you are collecting 8% as excise duty. Now this 8%, let us take an example. On 10,000 you should collect 12% of excise duty. So total how much? 1,200 plus value 10,000, right? Value 10,000, excise duty 1,200, you should collect 11,200, but you are collecting 8% only as excise duty. So value is 10,000, 8% how much? 800. Now 10,800 you have collected. Now what the government assumes, this 10,800 itself is price cum duty. That means the price inclusive of excise duty. They will assume this as price inclusive of excise duty, and this is a portion of 100% of value and 12.36% of excise duty. Total how much? 112.36%. Same similar to service tax calculation. In service tax also we assume that if service tax is not collected, it is inclusive of service tax and we will calculate accordingly. So in this case also we will assume 10,800 is a portion of 112.36%. For value we will calculate, find out the 100% portion in this. For excise duty we will calculate 12.36% on this. How? Value means nothing but amount collected into 100 divided by 112.36%. Clear? Excise duty is equals to amount collected into 12.36% divided by 112.36%. Clear? So this is similar to service tax. If it is collected, if the service tax is not collected, then the amount whatever you collected is assumed as inclusive of service tax, then we will calculate accordingly. Same here also. If you are collecting any excess duty which is less than what is actually due, then we will assume that whatever you collected as price cum duty. That means whatever you collected is inclusive of entire excess duty. Here, based on that, we will calculate excess duty liability. Second condition is if the assessee had not at all collected any duty from the buyer, even though the product is liable to duty. Okay. So first situation is he has collected less duty. Second situation is he is not at all collected the duty. Then also whatever you receive. In the given example, here I am receiving only 10,000, not even 10% or 8%. I am receiving only 10,000. Then the 10,000 entirely is assumed as 112.36% and will be calculated accordingly. Clear? Next, third condition is if the assessee had paid duty on lesser value due to receipt of additional consideration. So actually he is collecting, he has to collect 10,000. On 10,000 he has to levy 12% of excise duty. But he is receiving only 8,000 and levying 12% on it. Okay, this 2,000 value he is suppressing and he is receiving 2,000 plus some additional consideration because of suppressing the excess duty liability. Clear? So that means actually the value is suppressed here. So first case is duty is collected less. Next situation is duty itself not at all collected. Third situation is he is suppressing the value to reduce the excess duty liability and the seller is receiving additional consideration for this. Clear? So this is the case. In these three cases, we will assume that the price is price cum duty. So price cum duty will not include any other taxes. It is assumed that it is inclusive of only excise duty. It is inclusive of only excise duty. See, what are the things which will be included in excise, price cum duty. So price actually paid. Okay, price actually paid for the goods sold plus any money value additional consideration you will be receiving directly or indirectly from the buyer, that should be added. Then you will get price cum duty. From this price cum duty you should exclude sales tax and other taxes actually paid, not payable, paid. If you have paid any sales tax and other taxes on this, that should be excluded. Then you will get price cum duty which is deemed to be inclusive of excise duty. So that is nothing but price cum duty concept. So here we are having some problems, so you can go through that. So seeing this class with the study material of ICAI is very helpful. So or otherwise, even after listening the classes, you just refer your institute study material and practice manual and you can practice the problems given there. And now we will enter into the last conceptual area in this, that is nothing but small scale industry exemption. Small scale industry exemption. Clear? So small scale industry exemption, when a person can claim small scale industry exemption. So this is nothing but similar to small small scale service provider in service tax. Clear? There we will see 10 lakhs limit and this year we will providing small service provider exemption and we will give 10 lakh service tax exemption up to 10 lakhs. So blah blah blah, all those things similar but amounts are different. Amounts are different. So let us assume for financial year 12-13 I have to determine my excess duty liability. So first I should see whether I can claim small scale industry exemption or not. That is the question. For this, first thing you have to see is financial year 11-12 turnover. Sorry, not turnover. Value of clearances. Clear? Value of clearances. If value of clearances is less than or equal to 400 lakhs, then if this is yes, if your answer is yes, then for 12-13 you will be called as small scale industry. Clear? So if I am called as small scale industry, what is the benefit. So excise duty exempt up to rupees 150 lakhs value of clearances. Value of clearances. So nothing but if you want to see whether you are eligible for SSA exemption this year or not, you have to first see what is your previous year value of clearances, not turnover, value of clearances, not value of manufacturer, value of clearances. Clear? You should not see turnover, what is your sale, what is your manufacture. You should see value of clearances, what is the amount of goods you cleared from your factory after manufacture in the previous year. If the value of clearances is not exceeding 400 lakhs, that is less than or equal to 400 lakhs in the previous year, this year you will be called as small scale industry. So okay, I am called as small scale industry. What is the benefit? So benefit is, if you are called as small scale industry this year, you will be exempted from excise duty up to rupees 150 lakh value of clearances. Clear? Up to 150 lakhs of clearances of goods from your factory this year, you are not required to pay excise duty. You are not required to pay excise duty. So okay, the important thing here is to calculate 400 lakh limit of value of clearances. What is the unit I have to consider? If I am having multiple units, let us assume I am having 4 or 5 manufacturing units, whether for each unit this is applicable or means no. If you are a single manufacturer, all premises should be taken into account, should be considered to calculate this 400 lakh limit. Clear? And this year up to 150 lakhs you will get exemption. So this is nothing but small scale industry exemption. Next thing is, what is the SENVAT credit availability in this case? So during availment of SSA exemption, you can purchase inputs and you can purchase capital goods also. Clear? So let us assume from April to September, I am a small scale industry and I am claiming small scale industry exemption only up to April to September. Why? Because on October 1st, my turnover is exceeding 150 lakhs. Clear? So now the small scale industry exemption is available between April to September for me. So on whatever the clearances I made during April to September, I am not required to pay excise duty. So if I am purchasing any inputs during this period, whether I can avail and use SENVAT credit. If I am purchasing any capital goods during this period, I can avail and utilize SENVAT credit or not is the question. So in this case, if you are purchasing inputs, no availment of SENVAT credit. Clear? For what? During this period. This period is what? SSI exemption. Clear? So capital goods, yes, you can avail, but utilize only after excise duty is payable. Clear? So during this period when you are claiming SSI exemption, if you purchase any inputs, you cannot avail SENVAT credit itself. Okay, so availment is different, utilization is different. So availment means you can take the credit, you can record it in your SENVAT credit account and utilize it at the time of payment. Okay, in case of inputs purchased during the period of April to September, there is no question of availment itself, but there is a relief in capital goods. So this capital goods, whatever you purchase during the claiming of SSA exemption, you can avail the SENVAT credit, but you cannot utilize it. Why? Because there is no excise duty liability itself. If you want to utilize that, you should start paying excise duty. That means from 1st October when your clearances exceeded 150 lakh, you are started paying excise duty. You are liable to pay excise duty, right? From that point you can claim surrender credit which was paid on these capital goods. Clear? That means on inputs no availment of surrender credit during SSA exemption, but on capital goods you can avail surrender credit even during SSA exemption, but you can utilize it only after you start paying excise duty. Clear? So this is nothing but availment of surrender credit. So now if I am manufacturing goods under brand name of others, no SSA exemption. Clear? No SSA exemption. If I am manufacturing goods under brand name of others, I will not be getting any SSA exemption. But there is an exception. What is this exception? If you are manufacturing in rural area, then you can claim SSI exemption. Clear? You can claim SSI exemption. So actually if you are manufacturing any goods or producing goods under brand name of others, then you are not eligible for taking SSA exemption, but there is an exception for this rule. That is, if you are even though if you are manufacturing goods, excisable goods under brand name of others, and that to the manufacture production is taken place in rural area, then you can claim SSA exemption. Okay, so this is nothing but regarding SSA exemption. So after going through all this, if you refer your study material, institute study material and practice manual problems, it is sufficient. So as I told, this is a fast track revision class. I tried my best to cover all the main conceptual areas. Then the procedural areas like registration, returns, due date for payment of excise duty. So due date payment is almost similar to service tax provisions. So all these procedural areas you can go through, and I feel that you will not find any difficulty while solving the institute material problems and practice manual problems. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.